Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavanto Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagini Vyapta Dehaya Daktaye Namaha. Om Shanti. Dakshinamurtiye Namaha. The Na should be prolonged. Dakshinamurtiye Namaha. In the same way, it is Vasudevaya, na Vasudevaya. Vasudevaya Namaha you always say. It is Vasudevaya. Va should be prolonged. Vasudevasya apatyam Vasudeva. If you say Vasudeva, it goes to his father. If you say Vasudeva, it goes to Krishna. Anyhow, that is. It is not Vasudevaya, Vasudevaya. Om, 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 Om. Om Namo Narayanaya. So, yesterday we heard that the opponent has asked that the indweller is not real and actions alone can give the fruits. So for that, he has given the answer that you are assuming so many things. If you say that extraordinary results of actions alone are working, and if they are giving the fruits, and if you don't accept the indweller Ishvara, so what all you have to assume, that he is telling. First, Lord Shankaracharya refuted this in some other place. There he says, the action is momentary. So as soon as the action is done, it perishes. And it is inert, so it cannot give result. And you are assuming the extraordinary results of the actions. Number one. And you say it is capable of giving the rewards. The capability is different and giving is different. One may be capable, but if he is very stingy, he will not give anything to anybody. So, he says, he is capable of giving the rewards and it gives rewards. So, both the things are there. Moreover, the extraordinary result is not seen by anybody. So, 5 reasons, 5 assumptions. First and the last one is to refute. Action is momentary and it is not seen. And you have to assume 3 things. What? You have to assume first the extraordinary result. It is capable of giving the fruits and it gives fruits. So, you are imagining 3 things, whereas we have to do nothing. First thing, the indweller is not momentary and he can be experienced in every day in each and everybody. So you cannot say, you cannot see it because they are experiencing. And whereas you are assuming 3 things, We are assuming only one thing, that Lord Ishvara is there, He gives the fruits. See? So, in this way he refutes him. Merely the existence of Ishvara, who is served, has to be assumed. So that's why we say work is worship. Whatever you are doing, you think that I am the doer and I am doing for something. But if you do all these actions without hankering for the fruits, it goes to Lord Ishvara. And this Ishvara is real. Unlike your extraordinary work, he is not seen or is not unreal, he is not momentary. And then he knows the service of each and every individual. So we have to assume on Ishvara who gives the results. You have to assume so many things. You have to imagine rather to say. In this way, he has contradicted that apurva, extraordinary, say, result of the action. Because he is not accepting Ishvara. The main trouble with him is, he does all the rituals, all the actions he does, according to the scriptures. But he is not accepting the Ishvara who gives the results. That's why he has to assume so many things, it is like this, it is like that. And finally, whatever the action is, when it gives away the results, it is over action. Again, if you want the results, you have to do again. Whereas here, once you experience the Ishvara, no more actions, no more coming to death and birth. But still with all these things, he is adamant in not accepting the Ishvara. Whatever it may be, it is left to him. Now, again in the middle he told, all these petty gods, they depend upon the sacrifices, and in turn they give the rain and the sunshine, etc. So, mains depend upon Darvi Homa, that also he has told. Ishvara connects the actions and their results. What Ishvara does? He connects the actions of the individuals and their results, and he gives them. Then there may be a question, where is Ishvara? How he is controlling? The answer is, he is the indweller in all. So he knows, he gives the rewards. You cannot escape. And ignorant persons has to transmigrate. They are like hired servants, and for them no liberation at all. Because they are ignorant, they do the actions, enjoy the results. As soon as the results are over, because of ignorance, again he does some actions, again enjoying the results. So the cycle will be going on. So, for an ignorant person, there is no realization, no moksha. He cannot experience the self-consciousness which is within him, because he is ignorant of that. Now, again he says, the Sankhya has come. Sankhya is still more peculiar. He is never believes the Vedas. Through his own imagination he tells. Through illusion everything is created. If there is not a magician, how can he show the magic? Magician should be there to show the magic. The magic is inner thing. It cannot come and show by itself. But he says, the only illusion creates everything. Rulership of the insentient, he says, the answer is given, the indweller is seen. There is no other knower than the indweller. Even the illusion is controlled by our indweller. What you say, the illusion, Maya, Pradhana, it is controlled by Ishvara. Maya Dakshena Prakriti, Suyate sa Characha. See? So, because an insentient thing, it cannot rule, but he never accepts. Then the answer is given, the question is asked, by what the ether is pervaded? By what ether is pervaded? Gargi asks. So, the answer is, ether is pervaded by this indestructible. You may call it Avyakta. Though we say the name Ishvara and Brahman plus Maya is equal to Ishvara, but you cannot see him. Name is there, no form. That is why he is called Avyakta, unmanifested. Then, when he has described his answer, Yajnavalkya when gave the answer, then Gargi says, you cannot even mentally cherish the hope of winning Yajnavalkya. You cannot even mentally cherish. She says, and she withdraws. Then he asks, what is the distinction or common feature among the Antaryami, the indweller, whom etc. do not know, and the indestructible spoken? He says, first you told Sutratman, that is combination of all subtle bodies. Or you have told vital force, because it is made up of subtle elements, you cannot see it. That is Sutratman. And again he says, who is pervaded by the Sutratman? That is the indweller, Ishvara. After describing Ishvara, you have described with all the negations the indestructible. That is, there is no illusion. And no form, no name, but it is. See. So he is asking, you are telling one indweller, Ishvara, and indestructible, two things. So what is the difference in between them? The opponent asks. And you say that indestructible, you can say, as the all-pervading consciousness, omniscient consciousness, whatever you may call. It is the primary substance of consciousness of all the form, the agent of all acts such as seeing, he says. Now we see. He says, in this consciousness, there is no name and form. But again he says, all the form, the agent of all acts such as seeing. This consciousness, this indestructible, is the agent of all acts an individual is doing. How is it possible? You said this indestructible is not having any name and form, it is only consciousness. And again you say that consciousness, the agent of all acts in the individuals. How to reconcile? First, you should understand that only one consciousness is there in all the universes. Point number one. And the individual is having a mind. It just reflects on the mind. It is not doing anything. It is completely unattached. So, because of its reflection, the mind thinks he is an agent. I am thinking, I am seeing. So, to say it causes the mind for all the actions, just by its presence, not doing anything. So, there is no contradiction. If you say the consciousness is the agent of all acts, if you say, then how? Because the individual is having all the actions. And in the individual's mind it is reflecting, that's all. Because of that the mind thinks I am. So, the agentship is caused by the consciousness in the individual, not outside. Outside there is no mind. So, there is no agentship. In all the inner things, there is no mind. So, no agentship. Then no actions. So, if you say that Supreme Consciousness is the agent, in the sense, it causes the agentship in the individual's mind. So, don't get confused. If they say this indestructible is not having name and form, it is unattached, it is knowing, not doing anything. And where is the second sentence? He says, the agent, it is the agent of all acts such as seeing, etc. So, we have to reconcile the statements. In the same way, in the scriptures, we get so many contradictory ideas. To reconcile them, the Brahma Sutra was written. And now we have taken a Sankhya. He says, the illusion is creating. Another fellow comes, he uses his mind, logician. He says, through atoms, the whole world is created, universe is created. Paramanu. And what is his argument? Here you should be very alert to understand the logician. He says, through atoms, the universe is created. He says, two atoms join and it becomes a Dvinuku, he says. His name? Some. And three Dvinukus, that is, makes Trisrenu, that is called. So, in Trisrenu, 6 atoms are there. He says, you cannot see the atom or Dvinuku, but you can see the Trisrenu. And what is his rule? Whatever is there in the cause, that has to come in the effect. So, in your statement, you say the atom is not seen and Trisrenu is seen. So, how the cause is coming into the effect? So, you are failed. See. And who is there to join the atoms? Some nowhere should be there. And if they are joining, say, I will show you by picture. Now, you see, these are the two atoms. Everybody can see? So, just I have put 2 zeros and 1 in between, I. So, these are the two atoms. He says they join. And that fellow he thinks he is very intelligent. That's why he says, we accept for every reaction a material cause and an instrumental cause. But that fellow says, asamavayika, in between another thing is there to join. See, we accept how many? 2. Instrumental cause, material cause. But that fellow says another cause. What is that? He says, asamavayi karana, his name. Now, you can see the material cause, clay, and instrumental cause, the potter. In that way, if you say another cause is there, it should be a substance. Do you agree? Now, if a substance is joining with another substance, there must be something else in between. Now we have told this as samavayi karana. So, with which it is joining with the left atom and with which it is joining the right atom. Could you follow? It goes above the mind. We told we accept only 2 causes, instrumental cause, material cause. But he says another cause, that is samavayi karana. As we see in the world, if the material cause and the instrumental cause are substances, a clay and potter, in the same way the third cause which you are giving, asama, should be a substance. So, when you are joining both atoms, in between another substance is there. This you have accepted. Now, I ask, in between this asamvaya karana is there?
Asamvaya karana is
incidental cause. So, this incidental cause is a substance. And you say the atom is a substance. So, in between something should be there. When you accept something in between the right and left atoms, and again you are telling the incidental cause is substance, and between the incidental cause and the left atom there should be substance, and the incidental cause and the right atom there should be some other substance. So, if you go on putting some substance going on, they will never join. So, because you are having a tongue in your mouth, you do whatever you talk. Mukhamasti iti vaktavyam satahasta haritaki. They say, samvai, ya samvai, tamvai, kamvai, pumvai, going on adding one letter. Where it will end? So, you cannot prove that 2 atoms are joining. All right. Because you are a fool number 1, we do accept that they are joining. When they join, one is merging in the other, or they are simply joining. And if they are joining in one particular place, say if you take 2 bowls, so they join like this in one particular place. It is not some completely entering into this. So, how can you say it is not seen? And 6 atoms you say you can see. So, in this way so much contradictions are there. That is called Paramanuvada, Arambhavada. So, in that way he has been refuted. Who? The logician. Now, the Sankhya, he is also refuted, because you accept only an initiated thing as the yeah, pradhana, insentient, which is creating, it cannot create. Then comes the Purvamimamsa, he never accepts Ishvara. So, and another is there called Charvaka. He never accepts any consciousness. Like this, so many schools. And if you come to Buddhism, he says everything is void. Are who is telling void? You are conscious being or you are a matter? You say everything is void. Who is telling? You are telling. So you are a conscious being or you are in a fellow? No answer. Somebody should be there who records the void. And he says, everything is momentary. Buddha says. If everything is momentary, only stays for one moment. A thing to see, at least you should require 3 moments. Creating moment, sustenance and dissolution. But you say only one. So who has recorded this? Huh? No answer. So like this telling in Brahma Sutras, he has refuted all the other schools of thoughts. That comes in the 2nd chapter of the Brahma Sutras. So, like this, in the 3rd chapter, he gives what are the rules and regulations an aspirant should follow, and what are the results in the 4th. And in the 1st, all the, say, scriptural sayings, they tell only one thing, that is, self is real, that is all-pervading. Bas. Self is consciousness and it is all-pervading. So, in this way, it is completely depending only on logic. So, if you are thorough with the scriptures, then you can understand little logic. But without studying logic also it is very difficult. So while studying, you should be very careful. You have to understand each argument. What the opponent says, in every step, opponent says something, he is refuted. Opponent says something, he is refuted. So you should understand the question of the opponent. So in this way it goes, whatever it may be, that here now opponents are coming. The primary system of consciousness is the agent, you said, that is all right. Then first he says, he is accepting something and is not accepting something. That is called Ekadeshi. He is accepting something, he is not accepting something. Of the Vedanta. Huh?
One part of it.
One part of it. What he says, the consciousness is like a ocean, and the inner controller is the state of, disturbed state of a ocean, and extremely disturbed state is the individual. See. That means he is comparing that consciousness to the ocean. And he says, disturbance is there as the waves. But we say the consciousness is never disturbed. It is completely unattached. The moment you get unattached to the desires, you become one with that. So, no thorough argument. Again, another school is there. He says, page 755, others say that these are powers of the indestructible and that it has infinite powers. See, just like this fire is having a power. What it does? It burns and gives light. So in this way, your consciousness is having a power. Now, then the power of the consciousness and the possessor or the power possessing person, they become two things. Is it not? So, he says, if something is having a power, it should have parts, avayava, and all the parts joining another cosmos thing should be there. Is it not? But our consciousness is having any parts like the ether. So how can you say that it is having the power? When he wants to create, then only he is taking the help of the illusion, the power. When he is not creating, suppose somebody is there and he is a carpenter. He is a carpenter doing the wooden work with all the instruments. When his work is over, he has thrown away all the instruments and taking rest. At that time, if a new person comes, can he identify him as a carpenter? Those who knows it is all right. But a new person came and he saw this man is simply sitting there, not doing anything. Will you say he is a carpenter? No. So in the same way, only while creating, he takes the help of the illusion. Without creation, no illusion, nothing. That we call dissolution. So this argument also is not all right. At some others, what they say, hold that these are modifications of indestructible. The creation, the delusion, and the sustenance. It is all, he says, modifications. Modification means, if suppose you take milk and you have put yogurt and it has become yogurt. Can you get the milk? It has been changed into yogurt. So we cannot say modification is there. But the first person, the Ekadesi, in them also some conflict is there. You can see the footnote in the page 754. They also attribute 5 other states to Brahman. They attribute 5 other states to the Brahman. Another fellow comes, no, we attribute 8 states. Anyhow, what are the 5? He says Pinda. Pinda means this gross body, which we are having. Individual's gross body is called Pinda. Individual, that's why he has given the meaning individual. And he says Jati, the species. Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, so many. And he says Virat. Virat is the combination of all the gross bodies. Virat what? Combination of the all gross bodies is called Virat. And then he says Sutra. Sutra is the combination of all the subtle bodies. And the fifth one he says, Daiva or fate. Where from this fate comes? From inside only. What you sow, that you have to reap. So, in Sanskrit, the Daiva is translated as the indweller Ishvara. See? So, indweller gives what you do, that he gives you. Now, the other school is there, 8 are there, he says. Brahman has having 8 states, 5 has been described. The Pinda, the individual, Jati, the species, Virat, the combination of all the gross bodies, Sutra, the combination of the subtle bodies, and Daiva is the causal body, the indweller, Ishvara. That's over. Now, the other fellow says 8. What are the other 3 things? He says one is that he has not given here, you see. So, one is Avyakrita. Unmanifested, you can translate it into. What is the unmanifested? That is Ishvara Tattvasya Karanam. The cause for the Ishvara. He says Avyakta. What is the cause of Ishvara? Illusion. What is the cause of Ishvara? Brahman is not having illusion. As soon as it takes the support of the illusion, he becomes Ishvara. So, now 3 things are there. Brahman, illusion, Ishvara. So, in between Ishvara and Brahman there is another thing you call illusion. So, that state he says Avyakt, unmanifested, illusion. And then he says, then comes the Ishvara Antaryami indweller. He says, there, that's why in the above, the 5th one, Daivam, he has translated as fate. But we admit it as the indweller. Here there if you take as fate, here you have to take this seed as the Antaryami, the indweller Ishvara. That's why they have made some difference. And what is the 8th one? There he told Pinda, that is the gross body and the combination of subtle bodies and the combination of the gross bodies, but he has not described about the individual soul. Kshetrajna or Jiva you can call. Now, previously I told you what this individual is. Jiva. Jiva means individual. Now, mind is an inert thing and consciousness is consciousness. And the consciousness is all pervading. It is the support for everything. The individual, because of his past actions, he is getting the mind. Because desires are there in the mind. As long as you possess desires, you have to take birth and death. So, in the individual, what is the primary thing? Mind. Now, consciousness is there, individual mind is there, and this consciousness reflects in the mind. These 3 things put together is called individual. See. So that is called Kshetrajna. That is called Kshetrajna. That's why In Gita, Sri Krishna says, Uttamaha Purushastvanyah Dvavimo Purusho Loke Ksharasaksharecha Ksharasarvani Bhutani Kutastoksharuchite Uttamaha Purushastvanyah, he says. There are two things, Kshara and Akshara. Kshara is say, it is Kshara Sarvani Bhutani Kutasto Akshar Uchite. All the individuals are called Kshara. All the individuals. And the illusion is called Kutastha. There, Maya. So that he says, the cause for the Ishvara. There in Gita, what they say? Akshara, Kutastha. Uttama Purushastvanya. The indestructible is beyond these two. So, the transitory, transmigratory individuals and the cause for the creation or for transmigration, the illusion, and then both of these, both beyond of these both is Uttama Purusha, that is indestructible. There he says like that. So, he says, we accept 5 states for the consciousness, and the other fellow says 8 states. From the outlook, it looks the argument is very good. But the scripture says, Ekameva Dvitiyam, one without a second. Then how the reconciliation comes? If we accept so many things. That's why we say all these things are superimposed. But there ends the matter. Only support is there. That's what we say. After getting the Savikalpa Samadhi, what you are seeing? If you see something, it becomes Savikalpa. So in the Nirvikalpa Samadhi, what you are seeing? No dream, no sleep, no fainting, no waking state. So, only consciousness. You have merged in that consciousness. Then nothing is there. Then only we can prove the scripture Ekameva Dvitiyam. That's why this fellow also has been refuted. Now the other fellow says, it is something like power of the fire, burning. If it is having a power, it should have parts. And we say our Brahman is having no parts, all pervading. Like space, can you make the space into parts? Or say the ether? No parts. If you say it is because of the adjuncts. You take a part and you say the space in the part. Why? Because of the part. If part is not there, only space. That is why your argument telling it is having some power is not all right. Why? Because this indweller or the consciousness is one homogeneous substance, no parts in it. Now another fellow says, it is changing modification. So let us go to the commentary. 755, 4th line. Yet some others hold that these are the modifications of the indestructible, but the state and powers do not befit the indestructible. The state, 8 states he has given. And the powers do not befit, as evidenced by the Shruti, declaring it as beyond such transmigratory attributes as anger. So there is no states in the Brahman. And it does not befit the one and the same thing to be both beyond the attributes of anger, etc., and subject to those attributes simultaneously. I am sitting and running. Then what people think is a madcap, number one. If you give the statement, so don't give such statements. The one thing it is having attributes, and the same thing is not having attributes. No, it does not befit. And he says, similar is the case with the powers said to be possessed by the indestructible. The evils in attributing modifications and parts to it have been pointed out already, he says. Now this is very difficult. He says, we have already discussed where in the second chapter, but nobody is having the second chapter book except Swamiji. I was also not having, so I could not locate it. But since we are having the Sanskrit version, from that I have noted, so I cannot tell you the page, but you can hear the argument. The evils. అక్కడ కింద పేజ్ నెంబర్ ఇచ్చాడు 467 ఏదో చూడు కింద ఎక్కడో నెంబర్ ఇచ్చాడు ఇది ఇలా చెప్తాను he wanted to see in the Sanskrit లేకపోతే ఓ పని చెప్తాను చూడు ఇది తీసుకో ఇది 9వ బ్రాహ్మణం మొదలవుతుంది కదా దాని ముందు 1 2 3 4 పారాగ్రాఫ్లు వదిలిపెట్టాయి కస్తర్హి భేద ఏషాం దొక్కింది కదా దాని ముందు వికార అవయవత్వే చ దోషాః ప్రదర్శితాః చతుర్థే దానికి లేకపోతే కింద దానికి ఫుట్నట్టు అక్కడ కానీ కింద కానీ ఉంటుంది చూడు కానీ పేజ్ నెంబర్ పక్కన ఉంటుంది ఇంకా ఇటు వెతుకు 400 పక్కన చూడప్పుడు పక్కన పేజీలో నెక్స్ట్ పేజ్ కింద ఎక్కడో నెంబర్ ఇచ్చి ఉంటారు ఇక్కడ ఫుట్నోట్లో ఇక్కడ 4 6 7 సంథింగ్ లైక్ దట్ ఐ డోంట్ రిమెంబర్ ఎగ్జాక్ట్ ఐ కుడ్ నాట్ పుట్ ది నెంబర్ హియర్ దొరికిందా కింద ఉంటుంది అదర్వైజ్ హౌ కుడ్ ఐ టేక్ ఇట్ అవుట్ వాట్ ఎవర్ ఇట్ మే బీ
because I can tell in English because I have the scanned PDF if you let me know then I can immediately take it out so that we can inform Swami that was the only motive
ఇక్కడే ఉంది చూడు పేజీ 492 అక్కడ నెంబర్ ఇస్తాడు 492 నువ్వు తీస్తే నీకు తెలుస్తుంది మరి అందుకనే చెప్పింది దట్ ఈజ్ ఇన్ ది ఫస్ట్ బుక్ ఎనీహౌ ఐ హ్యావ్ నోటెడ్ దెమ్ యూ కెన్ హియర్ ది ఆర్గ్యుమెంట్ the evils attributing modifications and parts to it have been pointed out already in the second chapter. So what are the arguments? Number one, first I will read in Hindi or Sanskrit and then I can explain. अनेक द्रव्यों का संघात सावयव परमात्मा घटादि के समान एक देशी विपरिणाम है. Says, if you say it modification, it should be like a part clay has modified into part. That means the Brahman is having parts. This we cannot accept because he is like ether without parts, number one. What number two, अल्पमर्दित अपने पूर्व रूप से स्थित ईश्वर को केश या ऊसर भूमि के समान एक देश के विकार. Now, what we are telling, the consciousness is not changing because of the ignorance of the individual. You are superimposing something on that. As even on the space, the children superimpose. It is like a dome, it is blue in color, it is very dusty, and after say some 20 miles, the space and the earth are joining like this. They not even a single fact is true. That elders they know. But what is here? Here if you say the consciousness is not changing, and you say but it is having modification. Now an individual is there. Don't take a dead body, living individual you take. So from him hairs are growing. Daily morning he has to comb the hairs. Nails are growing. It is a modification without a change. If I accept like that, what you say, the consciousness is not having any modification. But here we see an individual person, individual is not changing, but some modifications are there. Hair is growing, nails are growing, and at times some other growths are also there. In some people, not all. So modification is not there in the individual, some, but it has come. Then the individual is having a parts. The homogeneous consciousness is not having a parts. So your modification will not hold good. Then he says, just like gold, it has been converted to ornaments. So if you want both, you cannot convert into ornament. If you have the ornament, there is no gold. If you want gold, there is no ornament. But what did consolidate? Copper. What did it? The goldsmith. If you take the gold to goldsmith, if you say, see, for making this ornament I have paid so much. So you can give me that price also. He never gives. Rather, he weighs that, and that much of gold price he will be giving to you. He is not worried about your ornament. Is it not? And not only this, he melts it, and it takes away all the impurities from that gold. That also, by that also, you will be losing the weight of the ornament. So you cannot say this Brahman is like gold changing into ornaments, because it is also having parts. Our Brahman is not having parts. So modification does not hold good. If you modify the milk into yogurt, only one thing you will get. But here, the indweller is there, indestructible is there, at the same time individual is there, everything is there. That is why we say only one thing is real, only one ruler is there, all the other things are superimposed. No other answer. Remove the superimposition, you are one with the superconsciousness. So these arguments he gave there, that this is the second part of the Brihadaranyaka, but we have took from the first. Brahmanam అది మరి నేను బ్రాహ్మణం రాదు.
వెళ్ళారు కదా అక్కడి నుంచి రాసి తీసుకురావాలి 490 రేపు చెప్దామని చెప్పాను.
అక్కర్లేదు చాలు. So, in the second adhyaya, therefore, all these imaginations are untrue. That is, first person told ocean and just like waves. He says, so much of disturbance is there. He says, disturbed state, extremely disturbed state. Another fellow says, it is power. If we say some power is there, it should have some parts. And still some others say it is modification. Modification also is having parts. So we cannot take all these arguments. Then we say one absolute state is there and a relative state is there. We do accept. We are in the relative plane. We are not in the absolute plane. Then because of the illusion, this relative plane has been created. Is it not? Because of the illusion, the relative plane has been created. All right. Then if somebody says the illusion is separate from the consciousness, then what is your answer? Somebody may ask. Because of illusion, relative plane we are able to see. Because we are experiencing this relative plane and we are ignorant of the absolute plane, this has been created by illusion. So, there is something different from your homogeneous consciousness, that is ignorance. What is your answer?
Unacceptable.
Unacceptable. Like the sun and its rays, milk and its whiteness. They are inseparable and unacceptable. See? If sun is there, its rays are there. But at times it takes back. In the morning, sunshine, in the sunrise we see, and in sunset we don't see the rays. So in the same way, the power of illusion with which God is creating is not different from that consciousness. See. But when He is creating, the individual things, the ignorance and the illusion are separate from it. That is why the whole of Vedanta, we can put in one sentence. What? Remove the ignorance. You are one with that. Then again he asks, first also he asks in page 754, he asks, what is the distinction between? So now again he asking, all right, somebody said something, you have refuted them. You are a very good boy. Now again I am coming back to the question. Second para, 755. If so, what then is the difference among them? One is the indweller, Antaryami, and another is indestructible, that consciousness. So, we say that the difference is all due to the limiting agents. Bas. Because of that illusion, because of the seven names. Mayopad. Upad. Only Upadhi is the adjunct is the left alone, there is nothing like difference. Left alone, without the adjunct, there is no difference between the indweller and the indestructible. That is why I told in the individual you are having three things. That indestructible, all-pervading, supporting consciousness, and the mind and the reflection. So, if illusion is not there, there is no mind. Then the reflected becomes one with the original. Bas. Indweller in all and indestructible. Left alone, there is nothing like difference or unity among them, for they are dense with consciousness by nature and homogeneous like a lump of salt. See? It is homogeneous consciousness. As evidenced by the Shruti, uncaused, there is no cause for it. It is the cause for everything. That is transmigratory universe or world, you can say. Transmigratory world is the cause for transmigratory. But he is not having a cause. Devoid of effects, and he is never touched by any effect. That is all in the individuals, the effect. And without interior or exterior, because it is all pervading, you cannot say it is only inside, you cannot say it is only outside. Outside also you can see, inside also you can experience. And in between, you see, inside your heart, angusht matra, and outside your body, then in between, like a wall, the body is there, is not there. Interior and exterior. Interior is the heart, hridi, a space is there. That you say consciousness, as supported by scriptures. And you say outside also consciousness is there. In between this body is there. So what about that? In the one consciousness, this is also superimposed. So you cannot take out the consciousness from anywhere. Suppose space is here. You have brought so much of firewood, and you have the good fire. By the fire, the space is not being eliminated from that particular place of the fire. It is not going to be void. Space is always there. In the same way, you remove any number of things from it. You add any number of things in it, nothing is happening to the consciousness. That is yourself. So he says, no interior, no outside. The self is Brahman, and also in the Mundaka Upanishad it is said, it is both without and within, and is unborn. Ajo nitya shashvatoyam purano nahanete hanyamane sarire, as told by Gita. Therefore, since the conditioned Brahman, unconditioned Brahman, cannot be expressed, and since it is devoid of distinction and is one, it is designated as not this, neti, neti. Why? Two reasons he is giving. The unconditioned Brahman cannot be expressed. You have to experience only. And it is divided for distinction and all distributes, etc. That's why not this, not this. This comes in Brihadaranyaka, 3rd, 9 to 6. We are getting that one. Next Brahmana. The soul on the plane of ignorance, desire and action conditioned by the body and senses is said to be in transmigration. So the self on the plane of ignorance, because of desire and action conditioned by the body and senses, is said to be in transmigration. See, being designated as Jiva, that we are called Jiva. Now he is giving the explanation in the footnote. In the commentary on the Mundaka Upanishad, the Acharya has defined the individual soul, Ishvara, as shown below. Since man is eternally on the move towards perfection, in other words, since he wants to give up his nature as Jiva and assume that of Ishvara and becomes identified with the latter, he must, with a conscious effort, bring about the elimination, one after the other, of all the attributes of Jiva. Then alone he can aspire after the assumption of the nature of Ishvara. Here what commentator says, all the attributes, you cannot tell I am Jiva, I am having a mind, I am no attributes. The moment you give an attribute, you are separated from the consciousness. And he says, avidya kama karma vasana srayalingam jivaha. And he is defining the individual. Ignorance is there, desire is there, action is there, and in the subconscious mind all the impressions are there. When the soul is on the plane of ignorance, desire, action and past impressions are there, it is called Jiva. In the ignorance all these things are there. And what about the Ishvara? Nitya Suddha Buddha Mukta Swabhavaha. Ishvara by nature is eternal, pure intelligence and free. Now, when you superimpose that mind on that, you have become Jiva. But that's all. Vishishta Chaitanya. The general consciousness and particular consciousness, Jiva. He is indeed the indwelling self of all beings. This self hidden in all beings, the word that I alone am all this is but self, and there is no say other than it. In no other view can these Sriti passages find harmony. Therefore, the differences of these is only due to the difference of the limiting adjuncts. ఎక్కడ అచ్చా 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 when the self has a limiting agent with the power of eternal and unsurpassed knowledge, it is said to be the inner controller Ishvara. See, he has defined below and here above also he says, when the self has the limiting agent, Maya, here don't take body as individual, with the power of the eternal and unsurpassed knowledge, it is said to be the inner controller Ishvara. So, the omniscient, homogeneous consciousness, when it takes the support of illusion, illusion itself is become the adjunct. Then he is called Ishvara. That's why always what I say, Brahman plus Maya is equal to Ishvara. Mayopadhika Chaitanya. Mayopadhika Chaitanya. The very self in its own nature, free from limiting agents, absolute and pure, is called supreme and indestructible. If illusion is not there, so the difference he has asked. What is the difference between the indweller and the indestructible? The indweller is having the adjunct illusion, and the indestructible is not having an adjunct. Likewise, when distinguished as being conditioned by the bodies and organs of Hiranyagarbha, the undifferentiated, the gods, the species, the individuals, human beings, beasts, and the dead, etc. So, undifferentiated, this all the combination of the bodies is called Hiranyagarbha. It assumes these forms and is called by those names. Accordingly, we have explained this through the Shruti text. It moves, it does not move. When there is no adjunct, it does not move. Tadejati, tannajati, taddure, tadvantike, tadantarasya sarvasya, tadu sarvasyasya bahyataha. In Ishavasya it has come. Such being the case, it is not opposed to such Shruti passages as this is yourself. The what that. So, all the differences are due to only adjuncts, he has said. Then the Vachaknevi Gargi gives up the argument. Since in all the Upanishads this is the settled fact, one only without a second. One only without a second from the absolute state from the absolute point of view. Now, another fellow is coming. Ninth Brahmana is called Vidadha Sakalya. He is not having this self-knowledge. He knows about the scriptural rights, what the scriptures enjoin as the rights in the first portion called Karma Kanda. He knows about only Karma Kanda, nothing about it. Then finally, Yajnavalkya says, you see, you are talking like a ghost. So don't go further. If you go further, I am having the boon. Even after prohibition, if you go further, head will fall off, that fellow never hears, and he dies there in the court. And now, if a householder, if he gives up the body, then some rites are to be taken place, performed. But because he has not given the proper respect for a realized person, rites also were not done for the body. Because when his head has fallen down, his disciples were there and they have put in a coffin, you can say, they were carrying to the house for the further rites. So in between some dacoits came, so they were thinking these all persons are coming from the king's court. So in this box there must be so much of gold and dollars. So let us take them away. They have beaten the disciples nicely. They all became almost unconscious. Then they took away the box to some other place. When they open and see dead body, they left it there. So all the forest animals, you see, crows and these jackals, no rights. So the moment if you mock at a realized person, this will be the result. So we should not judge anybody's state. If you are in that particular state, you can easily understand. If you are not realized in this state, then don't give any unnecessary comments. By giving unnecessary comments, by finding fault with others, you will be in difficulty. That is the meaning here. So, we go further. The Vidagdha Sakalya asked him, Yajnavalkya has revealed Brahman, the indweller in all, by showing how earth and dust, duly considered according to their subtlety, is pervaded by each. Each that proceeds is pervaded by each that succeeded. All these elements, earth in water, water in fire, fire in air, air in space, space in consciousness. So, and the controllership of the Brahman, that Brahman, on different forms of the sutra, consisting the differentiated universe, differentiated universe, the evidence of controllership is more vivid. Yap prithivya mantaro yamayati, one who is controlling everything from inside. So he says, controllership is more vivid. The Sakalya Brahmana is begun with a view to attain the knowledge of the directness and perceptibility of that Brahman through the contraction and expansion of different gods that are controlled by it. So, now the contraction and expansion of the gods will be asked and it will be answered. Why? With a view to attain the knowledge of the directness and perceptibility, as Sakshad Aparokshad Brahma, Tadme Vyachakshva. So, to get that, this has been asked. So, the Sakalya asked him, Yajnavalkya, how many gods are there? He explained it through this collection of mantras known as Nivid, as many as are mentioned in the Nivid of the Viswadevas. This is a particular sort of, say, dictionary of the Veda, you can say, that is called a Nivid. So, from that, Yajnavalkya is answering how many gods are there. How much is telling? As many as are mentioned in the Nivid of the Viswadevas, 3 and 300 and 3 and 3000. That means 3306. It has come to 3306. 303 and 3003, if you are put together, 3306. That is. All right, he says, yeah, you are very correct, Yajnavalkya. And says, Sakalya, how many gods really are there? Because he told, he wanted to know the expansion and contraction. Contraction. So now contraction is going on. So don't think that how this is happening. Truly speaking, only one is there. But all others are expansion. That he wanted to know. That's why he says, how many gods really are there? Yajnavalkya, 33. See, all right. How many gods really are there? Yajnavalkya, 6. All right. How many gods really are there? Yajnavalkya, 3. All right. How many gods really are there? Yajnavalkya, 2. Again he says, all right. And Saka, how many gods really are there? 1.5, you see. 1.5 gods. Again he says, how many gods really are there? Only one. All right. Which are these 3 and 300 and 3 and 3000? So, 3,306. What are these? That is his first question. He will be going on questioning. No other work for him. Yes. Then the Sakalya, the son of Sakala, named Vidagdha, asked him, "Oh Yajnavalkya, how many gods are there?" Yajnavalkya explained the number asked for by Sakalya through the collection of mantras known as Nived. Thus, as many gods as are mentioned in the Nived of the praise and the Visvedevas. Visvedevas also all gods. Nivid is the collection of mantras showing the number of gods which are chanted in the hymns by praise and the Visvedevas. So what is Nivid? It is the praise of all the gods. In that we come across there are as many gods as are known through the Nivid. Which is then that Nivid? The words of the Nivid are cited, 3 and 300 gods and also 3 and 3,000 gods. There are as many as 3 gods, 3,003. All right. Thus their intermediate number is rightly known. Again Sakalya asked the smaller number of these very gods. How many gods really are there, Yajnavalkya? Yajnavalkya in due order replied 33, 6, 3, 2, 1.5 and 1. Having asked the bigger and smaller number of the gods, he proceeds to ask about their identity. Which are those 3 and 300 and 3 and 3,000. That is 3,306. Which are those? Then he has Yajnavalkya said, these are just appearances of them, vibhuti. Only appearance. Because you see, in the mind there are so many impressions are there. A man who goes to heaven and the above worlds. Bhur bhuva swaha. Swaha is heaven. Bhur bhuva swaha mahajana tapaha satyam. Altogether 7. So the above 4, including the heaven, it becomes 5. So there all the gods of different planes they stay and they can take any number of forms. And previously also I told you, Sri Rama took thousands of forms to show Sati. So they are having that power. So their prosperity or their power of magic or occult power, whatever you may call, they are having that power. So in that way, it is 3,306. Up to that they can take forms, one god. That is only appearance. Is it not? Appearance of them. Really there are only 33 gods. How many? 33. Then, which are these 33? 8 Vasus, the 11 Rudras and 12 Adityas. These make up 31. Indra and Prajapati, they become 33. So, 8, 11, 12, 1 plus 1 becomes 33. Now, in between you see, he told 1.5 gods. So, don't be so anxious to know about it. The commentator himself will be explaining what is that. Yajnavalkya said, these are 3 and 300 etc. are just the appearances of the 33 gods. Really, there are only 33 gods. Which are those 33? This is being explained. 8 Vasus, the 11 Rudras and the Adityas. 12 Adityas. These make up 31, and with Indra and Prajapati, they become 33. Now again he is asking, who are these 8, who are these 11, something like that is going on. Uchadi Vasus, fire, earth, air, the sky, the sun, heaven, the moon, and the stars. These are the Vasus. For in these, all this is located, hence they are called Vasus. It will come, pass it. So, these all 8 Vasus, that means presiding deity, once they had a curse, that is why they have to come from the womb of Ganges, and one was left, all the 7 were killed. That is Bhishma, that you know. So, which are the Vasus? Thus the nature of each group of gods is being asked. Fire, the earth, etc. The Vasus range from fire up to the stars. The gods help all the creatures of the universe to live, and they too live. You see, they help the creatures to live and they too live by becoming the support of the fruits of their actions. They become the support of the fruits of the actions. And what are the actions these individuals are doing? That supports them. Because God, as I told you, by sacrifices, by transforming themselves into the aggregate of their bodies and senses and into their dwelling place. How? By transforming themselves into the aggregate of their bodies and senses and into their dwelling places. So they become these dwelling places, aggregated of the bodies, and they help all the individuals. Because they help the creatures to live, therefore they are called Vasus. Te yasmad vasayanti tasmad. They give all the creatures a dwelling place. That's why they call Vasus. So, Katama in Rudra, it will all come. 14. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate